Sometimes something seemingly small and innocuous can set off a big reaction that makes you feel like you don't have as much control as you maybe would like. Whether it's an email subject line, a raised eyebrow in a meeting, or a text that lands wrong when you receive it, you might find yourself feeling angry or afraid or shutting down before you even realize what's happening. That autopilot reaction, it's not a character flaw. It's actually your nervous system trying to keep you safe, even in situations where you don't really need protecting. Nervous system regulation is the key to responding with intention instead of reacting. Nervous system regulation is your capacity to move your nervous system from fight or flight, also called hyperarousal or the red zone, or shut down and freeze, also called hypoarousal or the blue zone, to move yourself from those modes back into a well-regulated state, which is also called the green zone and feels like a sense of safety and being in control so that you can choose your response with intention. In plain English, it's how you create time, space, and intentionality between what happens and how you respond to it. In other words, creating time and space between the stimulus and your response. When you learn how to create that space consistently, you don't just feel more calm, you build real self-confidence, which is the belief that you can handle whatever comes up because you have the ability to move your nervous system from dysregulated spaces into regulation. In this video, I'm going to talk about what nervous system regulation is in everyday terms, your window of tolerance, plus a quick introduction to what I call your inner security guard. She's the part of you that sounds the alarm for fight, flight, freeze, or shut down modes. Let's talk about what nervous system regulation actually means in plain English. Think of nervous system regulation, also referred to sometimes as self-regulation, as the keypad to your internal security system. Your nervous system learns based on your past experiences. It's designed to watch for factors in your present environment that remind it of past factors that were frightening or harmful, even if the factors in your present environment don't pose you any actual threat. Having a well-regulated nervous system doesn't mean that you never feel stressed or that you'll never experience fight, flight, freeze, or shutdown mode again. Rather, it means that you have the skills to recognize what's happening in your nervous system and respond with intention to bring yourself back into that regulated state. Before I go any further, here are a few important clarifications. Nervous system regulation and nervous system regulation coaching are not therapy or a diagnosis. Rather, they're practical, highly valuable self-leadership skills that you can grow and develop. Regulation isn't about suppressing your emotions, but it's about widening your capacity to feel your emotions without being hijacked by your nervous system's threat response. It helps mindset work take root and have a greater impact. When your nervous system is well regulated, your thinking brain is online, and mindset work actually has a chance to stick. Here are some signs that you're well regulated. You can pause before replying, even when it's something you care a lot about. You can feel discomfort without immediately trying to argue, fix the situation or the people involved, or shut down. After tough moments, you can return to your baseline faster and with less rumination. Now, let's talk about the window of tolerance and why it matters. Picture a window of functioning where you have enough capacity to think, feel, and act in thoughtful, intentional ways. Inside the window, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that handles tasks like reasoning, planning, problem solving, and future thinking, sits at the head of the table. It is in charge. Outside the window of tolerance, your brain prioritizes survival, and your prefrontal cortex pretty much checks out to lunch. When you're above the window of tolerance, which is also known as fight or flight, hyperarousal, or the red zone, it feels like having too much energy. You can experience things like racing thoughts, urgency, irritability, tight chest, rapid speech, an urge to fix this now. You can experience yelling, pacing, an urge to run away. You can feel hyper alert and even do things that might be reckless. When you are below the window of tolerance, which is also known as freeze or shutdown mode, hypoarousal, or having too little energy, or being in the blue zone, you can experience things like a foggy feeling in your head, flatness, slowed speech or behavior, avoidance, feeling like you just don't care, numb scrolling on your phone, exhaustion, dissociation, feeling far away or like you're just checked out. When you're inside the window of tolerance, which we call the green zone, it feels like having optimal energy. You feel safe and well regulated. Your breath is steadier. You're able to take different perspectives. You have access to more options, and you're feeling like you can take a moment and decide. Overall, you feel a sense of well-being and self-control. You have a good awareness of yourself, other people, time, and the physical environment around you. You're able to reason, focus, plan, and problem solve because that prefrontal cortex is at the head of the table. No one lives inside the window of tolerance all the time. In fact, that's not what our nervous systems were designed for at all. The point isn't rigid perfection. Its capacity to move from activated states in the red or the blue zone to a regulated state in the green zone. Our nervous systems were designed to be flexible. The more capable you are of noticing what's happening in your nervous system and taking steps to care for it appropriately, the better regulated you'll be. When your window of tolerance is wider, you can adequately and effectively deal with more of real life because you're able to show up with calm energy and more consistently access your best thinking. Here are a few everyday indicators that you're moving outside of your window of tolerance. Now, these are just a few examples. There are many more. Maybe your pace of your speech or your body slows up or falls off a cliff. Maybe your focus narrows to one threat or scatters to just a general sense of feeling unwell. Or maybe your inner narrative switches to always, never kinds of statements, such as, "This always happens to me," or "I'll never figure this out." Noticing these kinds of early cues is really the first step to building your nervous system regulation skills. Developing an awareness of what's happening in your mind and your body throughout the day is a simple yet effective way to get started with nervous system regulation. Now, I'd like to introduce you to your security guard. So part of your brain serves as a fast, well-meaning protector whose job is to keep you safe from what it believes are threats. I call this part of your brain the security guard. She monitors your present environment for possible signs of danger based on your past. If she thinks she finds something that she believes is dangerous, she sounds the alarm bells in your brain and body to send your nervous system toward fight or flight mode, also called the red zone, or toward freeze or shut down mode, also called the blue zone. Now that's helpful when there's an actual threat of imminent danger. When there isn't, though, it can cause you to go into fight, flight, or freeze shutdown mode, which is also called nervous system activation, when you don't actually need to. Going into fight, flight, or freeze mode when you don't need to often prevents you from showing up in ways that support your long-term interests and well-being. It can cause you to say or do things in the heat of the moment that you later regret, or make impulsive decisions that you wish you could change later on. It can also cause you to disengage from conversations and situations that you truly want or need to be a part of. It can also cause you to not take actions that will benefit you in the long term. Your security guard, she's there to protect you to the best of her ability, but her ability is limited. She doesn't navigate nuance. She prioritizes speedy protection. If she sees a threat that reminds her of something dangerous in your past, she sets off those alarm bells, not to try and make your life harder, but to try to keep you safe with the limited information that she's able to process. When you understand this, you stop arguing with your security guard and start managing and leading her more effectively. I walk through exactly how to work with your security guard in day-to-day situations in my Regulate, Reassure, Respond exercise, and I'll link to that video somewhere around here. This exercise is designed to help you soothe your security guard so you can move back into your window of tolerance and put the logical thinking part of your brain back in charge. For now, know that you can acknowledge your security guard's alarms, send soothing signals to your nervous system, and then move forward with intention. Let's talk about why nervous system regulation precedes mindset work and makes it more effective. So, mindset tools are powerful. I know this as a life coach, but they only take root if the part of your brain that can use them is online and in control. When you're far outside your window of tolerance, belief work and cognitive reframes just don't have a chance to stick. It's kind of like trying to reorganize your pantry when the fire alarm's going off. Your focus is just going to be elsewhere. Nervous system regulation quiets the alarm bells and brings you back within your window of tolerance so that your thinking brain, that prefrontal cortex, can do its job. Here's the cascade that you're aiming for. First, regulate. Recognize what's happening in your brain and body and take steps to move back toward your window of tolerance. Next, reassure. Comfort your security guard with truthful, grounded self-support, not criticism or toxic positivity. Then respond. This is where the mindset work comes in. Once you're in a well-regulated state, you have greater capacity to choose how to move forward from a place of intention. Following that sequence consistently will help you naturally cultivate self-confidence, not because life suddenly gets easy, but because you're developing the skill of leading yourself through challenging moments and making it through to the other side. Let's talk about what this can look like in real life. How about a work scenario where you get a last-minute meeting invite added to your calendar? Your security guard says, "We are unprepared for this. This is dangerous." Nervous system regulation can help provide space between that stimulus and your response so that you can soothe your nervous system, determine what you actually need to do to prepare for the meeting, and decide calmly and deliberately how you want to show up and contribute. How about a home scenario where maybe a family member makes a comment to you that stings? Outside the window of tolerance, maybe you tend to snap back at them or shut down. Inside the window, you can feel that sting, hold your boundary if needed, and still speak from a place of respect and constructiveness. How about in the context of your personal goals? Let's say maybe you miss a workout or a writing block. Dysregulation can fuel all or nothing showers of shame and self-criticism. With nervous system regulation in the picture, you normalize imperfections and stumbles and get back on track without getting lost in all of the mental drama. Notice that none of these approaches require perfect calm. They require capacity, steadily building the skills to lead your brain and body, not the other way around. Now that you've learned a little bit about nervous system regulation and why it's so valuable, let's talk about where to go next. You don't need a dozen nervous system regulation tactics or a perfect plan to get started. You need a coherent, tailored to you approach to lead yourself in those moments that matter. That's why I teach my Regulate, Reassure, Respond process. It integrates nervous system regulation, soothing, and mindset work without feeling like a script or like toxic positivity. And again, I'll link to that video somewhere here on the screen. If you'd like personalized help getting started with nervous system regulation, I'd love to invite you to schedule a free 30-minute consultation so we can talk about if coaching is a good fit for you at this point. Nervous system regulation isn't about never getting rattled. It's about building the capacity to lead yourself so that you can respond with purpose. From there, self-confidence isn't a personality trait. It's a natural byproduct of facing life with real agency. My name is Amy Shield, and I help smart, capable women feel as confident on the inside as they look on the outside. Thank you so much for checking out my video today. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye-bye.